from you and me. Who cares? I love you. Yes, I really will.
You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean. Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed on the Powerhouse Radio station are those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other hosts or advertisers. The show, found on the Powerhouse Radio station, can promote any lifestyle, belief, religion, political affiliation, or other personal practice. These shows are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to treat, diagnose, and or claim any cure of disease or conditions. Opinions stated by various contributors to the Powerhouse Radio and its programming are not to be considered as endorsed by the Powerhouse Radio station. Visitors are urged to use their own discernment to draw their own conclusion. We emphasize the importance of keeping an open mind.
Man, I'm telling you, I must apologize. I've received the phone calls. I've got the text. My other phone, listen, we're not gonna get it. We're not even gonna waste any time. We're just gonna it. More than once again, I do apologize. I'm at fault. It has nothing to do with the panel. The panel has been trying to get me as well. But yeah. Man, we have a lot of reason. And before we go into the reason, I want to say big respect go out to our brother and sisterly station, Victorious 89.1 FM. I gotten your message. To the YouTube's radio, I want to say big shouts to you, VJ DJ Smiles, Ross Dougal, big ups to you as well. And let the to all of our sponsors, we want to say big shouts go out to you all. And we're not going, I don't have time to set up TikTok, although I wish I did. Is my phone fully charged? I'm gonna try to do that while we're on, and so we could be live on there as well, because we're getting good feedback from the TikTok Massive and Cruise as well. So let's for the panel, we have Jai, Queen, Michelle, Noni, the Juice. You all want to say hello to your listeners?
Welcome.
Welcome to Reasoning Thursdays. Happy Juneteenth to everybody.
Yes.
Everybody out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been celebrating all day. So welcome everybody. Thank you for listening on all the platforms: Facebook, TikTok, YouTube, all the above. All right, Instagram as well.
Happy Juneteenth. Thank you for joining us today. We look forward to having a good time with you this evening. And thank you for listening to all the platforms. Remember to like and subscribe.
All right.
Happy Juneteenth. Welcome.
Yes, happy.
Lady, Juneteenth is a discussion, really.
It is. It is a discussion.
It is a discussion.
I mean, right about now, everything is a discussion. I think there's so much going on, but there is so much going on in this world, and the coming of Juneteenth, and you know what I'm saying. But for there's lots of events that is a national holiday, and this proclamation was signed, and it was signed by, I think it was Bush, and he was the first one to do that proclamation, and so it's talking about our freedom from it's talking about our freedom in 1865. And I could give a quick synopsis into it. Juneteenth National Independence Day, is a federal holiday in the United States. It is celebrated annually on June 19th to commemorate the end of slavery in the United States. The holiday name, first used in the 1890s, it is a portmanteau of the words June and 19th, referring to June 19th, 1865, the day when Major General Gordon Granger ordered the final enforcement of the Emancipation Proclamation in Texas at the end of the American Civil War. In the Civil War period, slavery came to an end in various areas of the United States at different times. Many enslaved Southerners escaped, demanded wages, stopped work, or took up arms against the Confederacy of slave states. In January 1865, Congress finally proposed the 13th Amendment to the United States Constitution for the national abolition of slavery. By June 1865, almost all enslaved persons had been freed by the victorious Union Army or by state abolition law. When the National Abolition Amendment was ratified in December, the remaining enslaved people in Delaware and in Kentucky were freed. All righty. Early Juneteenth celebrations date back to 1866. At first involving church center community gathering in Texas, they spread across the South among nearly freed African Americans and their descendants and became more commercialized in the 1920s and 1930s, often centered on a food festival. Participants in the Great um, Migration brought these celebrations to the rest of the country during the civil rights movements of the 1960s. These celebrations were eclipsed by the nonviolent determination to achieve civil rights, but grew in popularity again in the 1970s with a focus on American African freedom and African American arts. Beginning with Texas by proclamation 1938 and by legislation in 1979, every United States and the District of Columbia has formally recognized the holiday in some way. As of 2021, when Juneteenth became a federal holiday, it is observed with the closure of post office, banks, the stock exchange, NASDAQ, stock exchanges, and other financial markets, many schools and university and most governmental offices. Juneteenth is also celebrated by the Muskogos, descendants of Black Somalis who escapes from slavery in 1852, Seminoles who escaped from slavery in 1852 and settled in Coahuila, Mexico. The day was recognized as a federal holiday in 2021 with the 117th U.S. Congress enacted and President Joe Biden signed the Juneteenth National Independence Day Act into law. Juneteenth became the first new federal holiday since Martin Luther King Jr. Day was adopted in 1983. So that's a synopsis for all of those who do not or have not celebrated Juneteenth, and that's the purpose of it. And it is now a federal holiday, and we just have to big up ourselves for the strive we've made in this country, even though we continue to be oppressed, try to be oppressed. We still rise, and we still rise. So happy Juneteenth once again to all of our listeners all around the world. We thank you for celebrating with us and recognizing the holiday. It's so strange that I never really recognized and never really celebrated Juneteenth until maybe around 6 years ago, I think it was, when it really became something that I really know about because it was always just 4th of July always up in my face. So as me being in the South and starting to hear about it, I was like, whoa, okay. And I did my little research and then from there I make it a pact to celebrate Juneteenth. I had the pleasure of playing at a wonderful Juneteenth celebration on Saturday. Um, Put on by my brother, her and his wife, and another girlfriend of theirs, Wendy. And it was just a really, really good celebration. They had African dancing. They had the drummers there. You know, they had a saxophonist, and yeah, it was a really, really awesome, awesome event. It was wonderful to
I
see
had a
Noni
good
the
time.
Juice there.
Yeah.
I was shocked when I
Yeah,
saw
it's really
Noni. I said, "Who
nice.
Noni came here?"
Yep. I got a few connections, so I
I
was
hear.
invited. So I was like, as I said, I'm gonna surprise you. I wasn't gonna tell you.
Yeah, yeah.
And you did good,
Hey,
Lady D. It was good
I didn't
seeing
get to
you
put on my
on the
best.
ones
I
and
didn't get to
twos.
put on my best. I didn't get to do
I
my
know
best, but that's how it is some of the
there'll
time.
be others, and I can't
There'll
wait
be
till you
others.
invite.
There'll be others. So, man, so much in the news. Queen, I thought you were getting ready to say something in regards to Juneteenth before I kept going with.
Yeah, that's all right. I was just telling you how if it's a wonderful thing or what is it, because even my son, he came home with bracelets, some African bracelets, and he came with a nice big black bag with the African a picture of the African, the continent Africa
Yeah,
on it, and a lot of stuff,
Mm,
flags. So these companies are really taking this serious, you
that's
know.
awesome. That's
Um,
awesome.
so that's a good thing. And in another way, I was thinking, is it good? Is it bad? You know, I do go for the good part of it. You know what I mean? But then again, it's also a way of business making money, and that's the negative part of it that I'm not I'm not really accepting. You know?
We're not going to put any negativity in it because from its promotional, especially for persons whom did do not know and really do not celebrate Juneteenth, it's something that is bringing also Black awareness. So,
Yeah,
if
and
for
that's
the
the good
moment
thing.
that
Yeah,
they're yeah, if for the moment that they're commercializing, which I see a lot of melanated skin persons selling are selling things in regards to Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
It's a
Yeah,
good thing.
yeah,
But
yeah.
definitely big stores
Yeah,
and
it's a part of
companies
us making money.
commercialize
The
on it. But
African.
it's
Yeah,
okay. Yeah, because it's bringing awareness.
African art.
I'm all
Yeah,
for it.
yeah, yeah.
Big up yourself, Myra. Myra said happy Juneteenth blessing to the house.
Hey,
Blessing
Myra.
to Myra. Yeah.
Yeah.
So because like I said, Queen, for myself,
Mhm.
Hey,
I
Mara.
really never celebrated
Yeah.
Juneteenth.
Yeah.
So it's something great. Anybody else want to touch Juneteenth before we hit these fantabulous topics?
Yeah, I just wanted to add, it was actually signed in January 1st, 1863 by Abraham Lincoln. So it took 2 years before everyone was eventually free. That's all.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Mm.
That's it's a sad thing that it took that long. Um,
Yeah.
Nonetheless, our ancestors were free in whatever capacity that was, and whatever one may say freedom is for themselves. But it's good that now we are recognizing it, and it is a federal holiday, and yeah, our young ones are being exposed to this because, as I said earlier, I was not
Mhm.
aware of really Juneteenth, you know.
Mhm.
So it is a big thing to have our children grow up. And I think that a lot of parents should really speak with their
Participate.
children
Yeah.
about
Mhm.
what Juneteenth is and what it stands for. It's a great
Yeah.
time as well for us to go and to bring our children to the museums and
Yeah.
places like the Black museums and places
Mhm.
like that, to really get familiarized on where they're coming from or their ancestors, because as it is now that a lot of things are being removed that
Mhm.
depicts um, you know the accomplishment that Black people have made and the contributions that we have made to this place called America, and it's trying to be erased, such as, you know, I saw the story and then it was ironic that I saw it on Don Minet's page. And I told Don I was definitely going to touch it myself with 47 removing the bust of MLK, you know, out of the
Mhm.
office and replacing it. It's even in the White House, what we've contributed is being wiped away. It's not just the street names and the monuments that are around the country, but it's now even in our face in the White House being removed. And it's a sad, sad, sad thing. Myra said, "Teach, teach." Yeah, we definitely have to teach, Myra, our children of what is going on and their history, because it's being removed. I wouldn't be surprised, to be honest, if I see them remove Black History Month.
Ah,
And I don't want to put that in the universe, but we just have to call a spade, on what we're seeing and what is happening right now. It's truly, truly, truly a sad thing, that's happening right now. Um,
the thing is, lady, that racism, it didn't go away. People think it went away, but it did not. It was just hidden. It's undercover. You know what I mean? And all of these things is still geared towards it. I was telling someone the other day that I remember hearing when the clans used to be out there on Stone Mountain, Lithonia Road. And you don't see them visible now, but they're still there. They're in the park, they're all over. So, we just, like you said, we have to really educate our children and let them know, what is what, and the things that they really need to know, we need to teach it to them. So I do agree with you. And I do agree that Juneteenth is a good awakening in terms of culture and cultural awareness.
yeah,
And it's being exhibited not just um out there in events, but it's on the TV, so the children can see it and hear it. So maybe that is a good thing.
yeah. It's
Mhm.
it's crazy. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a good thing, when you mention Stone Mountain Highway, with seeing the those people with the case
Hmm. Hmm.
marching and stuff. I remember when I just came to Georgia some 35 years ago, 37 years ago. I remember going to Stone Mountain Park. We
Hmm.
was getting ready to have a little picnic, and it was just a few of us. And
Hmm.
the guys were riding around in the truck with nooses, with
Yeah.
noose, with the noose on their truck, and round around. Hey, you in? Hey, you in? And it was just really, really a rude awakening for me, coming from New York and Boston, and then relocating down here to the South, and really seeing that. It was like a little bit shaky, and then hearing on the news of them finding a Black man hanging those days,
Hmm.
and that was 30 years ago. So I mean, like, it was a rude awakening. Also, let's state that Trump has put 47 has put MLK's bust in his private dining room. Private dining room. I bet you he doesn't even eat in there. So unless he's doing something with himself while sitting in there watching, having the bust sitting there. But
Reflection.
the ironic, I'm telling you,
Yeah,
the ironic thing
reflecting.
about it too, the ironic thing about it is that he replaced it with the Winston Churchill.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, we have a lot we it's a crazy,
A
crazy.
lot of bugger bugger.
It's a lot of baga baga. How could I wouldn't even ask how could he put it there? How could he change
Wow.
it with and put Winston Churchill there? But that's a whole total long conversation there, and what Winston Churchill stood for,
Mm,
and in comparisons to what MLK stood for, and to make the change.
mm.
Yeah,
Right.
that's crazy.
Mm,
Okay, but let's note that that bus was there before and it was removed, and
Mm-hmm.
by George W. Bush, and I think it was by Bush, and so I guess he says he's replacing it and putting it back on his at his rightful place. uh,
Oh,
yeah, because Obama's the one that put we could go on with this over and
I
over
know.
and
Yeah.
over.
At least he
It's
put
just that.
Jesse. At least they put Jackson. Jackie Jackson. That's his name. The baseball player. They put him back. Reggie. What's his name? They put him back on. I heard back into the history because they had took him out.
Reggie,
Jackie
Jackie
Robinson.
Mhm.
Robinson,
Jackie
Jackie
Robinson.
Yeah.
Robinson,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. They put him back in. I heard. So back in the history. So hopefully, I don't know. Lord of mercy. Uh, it make you. It make you feel it's like you can't do nothing, you feel like you're just stuck because you call your representative, you write these letters, and you're not getting a positive response. It's the same thing with the center well where I go to and taking away transportation from the seniors, and there is no one really to talk to, and the people that you talk to, they don't pay you no mind. So you say, my God, how can we change this? How can we stop them from doing this? And we talk about voting, but is that enough? Isn't it also controlled? I mean, it seems like everything in this country is so controlled, even though they give you the snap where they're saying, oh, you're free. You're free of speech. You're free of, but you're not really, really.
Okay. I've just got a text that persons are getting a text from someone saying that they're with the Powerhouse Radio and it's urgent that they need a favor. So it appears that we have been hacked. So
Mm,
if you all have received any email or any texts or anything, um, it's definitely a scam. It's
Yeah.
not us from the powerhouse that is writing anyone. We don't need anything more than you doing a advertisement with us. And you all know to just directly send it to DA Powerhouse Radio at gmail.com and someone will respond to you.
Yeah.
and
Really.
ladies,
So,
stress
I,
that there's a powerhouse radio. So
And it's
there's, they
DA
can get the
Powerhouse
info.
Radio. It
yeah.
is
Yeah,
So
yeah,
here,
yeah.
what's crazy? So while we're here and everybody's talking, I got I just received a text on what
okay.
Mm,
on WhatsApp from one of our cousins here, right where I live in my area. You guys know,
Uh-huh.
and they said that she's asking me for urgent favor. So I haven't heard, she hasn't texted me on WhatsApp for a long time. So I'm like, okay, sure. But the only thing that caught me is how they spell favor the British way. I said, why would she spell it like that? But I said, okay, let me listen. So I said, okay, what do you need? How can I help you? And then she jumps in and like, why did you just text me randomly or did you receive a text from me? I said, I got a text from you. And she told me I'm hacked. I said, what? Then it tells me, then another text intercepts, but you can't tell. You think it's all from her. A text says, don't accept any calls from the Powerhouse Radio. So I'm like, any messages from the Powerhouse Radio? So then I text her on her, because I have her number. So we text separately, and she says, "No, that wasn't me. I didn't tell you to not accept calls from the Powerhouse Radio, and I did not tell you that I need a favor."
Yeah.
So
Someone got a
Well,
it's going
it's
and
around.
it's so
wild.
crazy because I just got a call yesterday from someone else. I received a text that they need some help for me urgently as well.
Yeah,
And it was a scam as well for that person. And for I got it for a good close friend of mine.
yes,
And I had to call them and say, hey, they hacked your account because I know you wouldn't text me asking me for nothing. If you wanted something, you would call me.
yeah,
Mm,
someone I know got a message from or a phone call from the powerhouse saying it was a Zoom call tomorrow.
Oh,
Well,
Uh,
I guess they're getting they're getting really skilled at
yeah.
what
desperate. Yeah.
they're doing, you
So
They
know.
get
here's
desperate.
so here's the two parts of WhatsApp. One thing is like all the other apps, like Facebook, Instagram, you're not no one can reach you directly unless you're in there in your contacts. So if they're not in your contacts and you haven't added them, they cannot get in touch with you. They go into a separate, like separate file. But WhatsApp, no matter who you are, if you can find the person's number, you can reach out to them. So that's a problem. And
That is a serious problem.
yes, and two,
Mhm.
usually on Facebook and Instagram, if someone hacked you, you can't really get into to contact people in the private messages. You have to contact them on the feed. But this one, she's texting me, and the hacker is texting me too on the same WhatsApp, and I
Hey.
can't tell who's
Yeah,
who.
that just happened to me too. I
Yes,
somebody
Uh,
was messaging me and saying don't respond, and then they're responding like I think I'm hacked.
yes, exactly. So that's
mm,
wild. Like you can't even tell who's who. Good thing you have their
So,
number. You can text them separately, but
mm,
yes, yes.
something has to
And
be done.
I'm really going to research on how to block that. But I am putting out that do not respond to any messages asking for anything from the Powerhouse Radio. Um, I hope that gets to persons and all who is listening as well. Do not accept anything from the Powerhouse. You can send it directly to my email if you have any questions. Our email is dapowerhouseradio@gmail.com. We have some thoughts here. Donna says there's a lot of things being revealed in those declassified files about MLK, JFK, Jackie Robinson, etc. Myra says, if you doing black people wrong, would you want them looking out for you? LOL. And
mm,
Jean says, I just received one from my niece as well. Yes, yes.
mm,
I mean,
mm,
they're on the go. They're on the go. And
mm,
no, if you're doing black people wrong, would you want them looking out for you, Myra? You know what, you have some narcissists that just expect that even if they're doing wrong, that they expect you to look out for them. So I wouldn't expect to be doing something wrong to someone and expect them to look out for me. No, but you have some people in this world that just feel like they're God's gift to the world, and
mm,
and think that is acceptable. And yes, Donna, I was reviewing some of the declassified information. I didn't really get to read a lot of it, but yeah, as we're finding out more things, we're going to bring that up into the reasoning as well as what are the declassified information that are in some of these files for MLK. But
mm,
nothing can be good that's going to be in these declassified files. Rather it's things that are put in there all of a sudden, because all of a sudden we're going to declassify them after all of
mm,
these years. Look how long 1968 Martin Luther King was, I mean, like, why?
mm.
So there's obviously a purpose. JFK, why all of these supposed prominent good people that they're putting these awful information about out now? What happened to all of these Weinsteins and these other persons? Why they're not putting out declassified information on them? So I'm not gravitating to any of it really,
And
but
lady, you saying that, you know what that draws me to?
uh,
When they were talking about the stuff that was in the president, the Russian president, Putin in his possession, and it was opened up, and here it is, all these black stuff about black people was in it. Listen, you see how quiet it got?
mhm.
That was just that little, I think these people are so, or they think they are so smart. You know what I mean? Even though they're doing it right in front of you, and they figure out that even though it's in front of you, you're not seeing it. So they do these things. Look at all of these things about the black God, black Jesus, and all of these things that came out, and it lasted for about a month, and then you heard nothing more about it.
A lot of these things
It's
are distractions,
all
and
planned. That's what I'm saying.
it's all
That's the point I'm
distractions.
trying to put across. Distractions
It's
and
all
the
Yeah.
plan that they have. They have for us. Eh?
So
you know. Go ahead,
uh,
Michelle.
you know, it actually takes about 25 years after the event has taken place. So the maximum is 25 years it takes before they can declassify something. So you have to, and it can be extended. The day can be extended, or there can be some exemptions why it cannot be classified within 25 years. But that's the normal time period to
Oh,
disappear.
And
okay.
let's
Well, I'm
look at
glad. I'm glad for that FYI because I was like, what is all of this all of a sudden now? Why all of this declassification is going on? So I thank you for that clarity. I thank you for that clarity. I mean, and when I say distractions as well, Michelle and the panel and our listeners, I don't know if a lot of persons are really paying attention to what is going on in this world right
Mhm.
now. A
True.
lot of the things we have so much topics, but since we're kind of limited on time, we're going to really address a lot of our topics next week, along with some of what's going on. I also want to say RIP to a legend himself, a legend that has passed on. Oh, before I even go there, I just want to say the respect is MIA. I'm just hoping that all is all right. The
Yeah.
respect, all righty. But Leroy Gibbons, he sings this
Mhm.
magic moment. He
Yeah.
sings Lord, a whole host of songs that he redid
Yeah.
this magic moment. He sings oh my God, my mind just went like totally to the left. I'm going to definitely be doing a tribute on Leroy Gibbons. And I had the pleasure of personally meeting him back in the days in New York, and I had the pleasure of interviewing him some like 15, 20 years ago. I had the pleasure of interviewing him. A wonderful man, and RIP. It's I'm telling
Yeah.
you,
Honey, I
old
watched him
longevity.
perform in HQ.
Yeah,
In HQ. I mean, a
and that's
lot of the
where I met him up in HQ, in the
yeah.
Bronx,
He was a
and
good friend of Rattenmorgan. Yes. I
yeah,
mean,
it's a sad,
right.
and he died doing the thing that he loved. It was reported that he passed away in the studio. He had a heart attack in the studio and passed away. So, our prayers go out to the family and friends, colleagues, and to ourselves because I was a real fan of Leroy. Four season lover.
Oh,
I'm your four season. It's coming back. Things coming back into my head with what with all of his songs. But yeah, tune in to the Lady D show for Saturday, 12 to 4, while I do tribute going out to Leroy Gibbons.
oh,
Yeah, and Saturday another great was laid to rest, and it's man, I give it all on the Lady D show, so you
oh,
can tune in to
oh,
Lady D show. But
oh.
yeah, topics.
Since we are in Jamaica, let's just hit that chicken biz.
Oh, I'm not worried about no chicken with. If these people want to stand online and fight and shoot
For
and kill each
three
other
hours.
over some chicken,
Woo!
they don't make
Three
no
hours.
sense. I mean, they
Can
don't
you
make
imagine three
one
hours for two piece of chicken?
go on inside of their house, go inside of their house and go fry some chicken and get into these people lying about you all are breaking
The
hell
woman,
breaking
no,
loose.
the Jamaican woman say, "What is spicy? Is sweet? Is nice?" I say, "Oh my God,
A
that's what she on the
person
TV
was
say."
even killed out there. It's
What?
alleged. Yeah,
Yeah, Ryan. They had
alleged that
Ryan.
no, it was
Yeah.
alleged that a gunman opened fired on another man out there. I mean, like
It's
It's
and
ridiculous.
all
riot.
over chicken, all
Mhm.
over chicken. It is ridiculous. It is
I
ridiculous.
seen a video where they fighting. It's like a riot, and I'm saying pushing, and I said, "This is crazy,"
Yeah,
you know.
it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I can definitely attest that yes, KFC in Jamaica to me tastes different than
Everybody says that.
it does in America. It does taste fresher. And I know persons who work there that has confirmed that it's true real chicken. It's not the because I don't eat KFC here in Georgia. I mean in America, period. Because there was that article years and years ago when they showed chicken running around that without heads, and that they were given all types of injections and stuff like that over here. So I don't eat KFC nor the other one, churches, because I just feel like I barely eat a lot of chicken since January anyway because I'm changing my diet. But I haven't eaten KFC nor churches here for at least 15 years. So when I go to Jamaica, yeah, I make a stop, but I'm not standing in no long line or anything like that. But yeah, the chicken is
Three
very good.
hours,
No,
crazy.
it's ridiculous. But
And it's just two piece they're getting free. That's all they're getting free,
and they
two
and they
piece.
still have to buy one in order
Yeah,
to get one
to
free.
get it free.
You know,
Hey, the
so
woman said it's her birthday, so she's treating herself and stand
yeah,
online for 3 hours and it's your birthday. Crazy.
yeah, they shouldn't have to treat themselves that way. Greetings, Daddy Don. We're live on the air. Yeah,
Greetings.
no, it's fake. It's fake, Daddy Don. It's fake. It's fake. Yeah, it's a scam. It's a scam. I just put it on the WhatsApp group, and I'm putting it on Facebook. Okay. All right. All right. Blessings. Thank you. I love you, Daddy Don. Bless up.
They're
Yeah.
really acting up.
Yeah, they are
Mhm.
calling folks, and it is ridiculous. So I guess I'm gonna have to send out a personal text as well to everyone. That's Dottie
Mhm.
Don. That's one of my loyal listener of 30 years. Yeah, no matter what station.
Wow.
Woo!
Yes,
Wow.
no matter
Wow.
what station
30.
I am on, Dottie Don is on that
Mm,
station with me.
Yeah.
And he's a
Mhm.
loyal
wow.
listener. He listens from the start of my show to the end of my show, straight. Okay.
Nice. I
Every
love it. I love it.
program when I was on 1570, 1430, 1010, no matter what outlet that I am on, he follows me. So that is
That's
my
amazing.
loyal listeners. Yeah, that's my loyal listener right there. And yeah, so he has my personal number. So he called me.
Oh,
So yes. So back Gillette says I love Leroy Sibbons. My favorite song by him was This Magic Moment and Missing
Mhm.
You. My condolences. Yeah.
yes. That is a
And
beautiful
Mhm.
song.
yes, it is. Donna Moody says because they're coming out because they're dead. No, Donna, they're coming out because as Michelle explained, it's 25 years. Okay. So I'm very glad that you explained that because here
That's my Donna.
Here's some guy that's going to talk about they're declassifying these things because they're not dead. I'm not listening. I'm not entertaining
That's
you.
my Donna. I'm telling you, Donna had to come with something like
You
Oh,
know,
they're coming with
Donna's,
something.
Donna's going to come up with something. But we have a lot. We have so much to reason on.
Yes,
And
like the parade, the military parade that
that no one showed up for.
they
Yeah,
expected 200,000, only about 8,000
I
came.
heard it was a
You know,
flap.
it's a flop, but you know what? But you know what the biggest thing about it is that all of these things I feel is distraction. It's
Distraction,
all
yes.
distraction of we possibly may be in World War III.
Mhm, mhm,
You know,
mhm.
where not many
Yeah,
people is talking about.
Yeah, he
All of
was
Exactly.
these
in.
other things are being, the handsman tail,
Or
Yeah,
yeah, the handmaid's tale. Yeah.
handmaid's tail. I mean, if
Yeah.
is anyone really looking
yeah.
at what
Yeah,
is
because
going on
I,
different than all these other
He
things that's
was
being
he
thrown?
was in the briefing room 2 days ago with all of them in there. Ran back from his trip abroad, right? He was at that conference, remember? And he rushed back and called a strategic meeting. Hey, there's a lot going on that people are not paying attention to, sis.
Yeah.
There's a
Mich-
lot
and,
going
and it's
Michelle.
on, ladies.
yeah,
Uh-huh.
and it's crazy because you have two things happening at once. You still have Russia bombing, fighting and attacking, Ukraine. Now you have Israel bombing Iran, and now Iran is getting upset. And I don't know if they've Israel saying I think they received the bomb. I'm not sure. I gotta look that up
They
again.
did. They retaliated.
Yeah, they
Yeah,
retaliate. So
uh-huh,
now so that's starting. Israel don't play. First of all,
uh-huh.
Israel, everybody, man and woman, has been through military. Their whole their whole community, all their citizens, I don't know if there's any exceptions, but have been in the military, have served in the military. So their whole population knows how to fight, you know? And then you have Israel, not Israel, Iran, who's always already fighting and they're always having their own separate wars. So now they're about to attack each
Okay.
other. It's crazy. This is wild.
Okay.
I
And
mean,
we've been
Uh,
told to mind our business or they coming for us next too.
okay.
Look at the incompetency that we have who's in charge of our lives in this. This is the worst time for if he's going to be in charge, the worst time for him to be in charge. Because I don't trust him with my life. I'm telling you, I don't
And
trust him with
part of
anybody.
it, go on, go ahead.
That's all I was saying. I don't trust him with any of our lives.
we want to say big shouts to Everdeen. Big up, cuz. Hello and blessings. Everdeen says
Blessings
hello and
and
blessings
the
to all.
Hey,
He-
Everdeen.
Everdeen says distraction to war and cover up. Yeah,
okay, okay,
total,
I was watching
total. Just go ahead. Someone was talking. I think it's you,
oh, I
Johnny.
was gonna say I was watching these veterans and like, military personnel, and they were talking about how now they're serving them right now, they're serving them like lobster and steak. And so their big thing was if you're in the military, you already know what that means. It's kind of like call it kind of like the last dinner.
hmm,
So they're like you little things like that is what you pay attention to because that's how they know something's about to happen.
Oh
yeah,
boy.
yeah. That's
And go ahead, Queen.
no. I was gonna say is that the thing is that I remember watching this thing that was on TV a while back, and it was showing you some of the areas that these missiles are pointing at. Okay, I know definitely there's one right over there by the cloister over there in New York City, and that's upper what they call that street. Anyway, it's up there, 168th Street up there. Okay, there's a reservoir on that side where Lehman College is, and right there that's one of the sites right there that they're aiming at, and several other sites they're aiming at. So
I
the
just
thing is that we don't even know if we're safe right now.
well, we are never safe.
And
I
that's
don't think. Go
that's
ahead.
what I was gonna say. I was just gonna say that's not the only war we have to worry about. We just had a general go and basically assault Putis with his speech that he gave and how he's not going to go against the Constitution. So we're really warring with ourselves on top of everybody else warring with us.
Mm,
Everdeen says America is already involved in the war. Yeah, because
Yeah,
they're
'cause
providing.
yeah.
Israel,
Yeah, they're providing arms. You know,
Hmm.
I would love for our people to really stop being distracted with all of the other hoopla and really pay attention to what is going on. I kind of got my antennas up when I just kept receiving things in regards to getting my generator solared, and I'm getting a lot of offers for the ROE foods, REO foods, that is the military foods, to buy them. And I always, every couple of months, I always keep saying to our listeners, people, you all, it's not a scare tactic, it's just common sense. For you all to get your ducks in a row, make sure that you have some
Yeah.
water, or buy a barrel. Especially as Jamaicans, buy a barrel, the plastic barrel, fill it with some water, get those water things that clean the water, get some emergency food supplies. you know just do common certain things. If you're going to use a gas generator, make sure you have a little fuel put aside to run that generator, or go and invest in a solar generator. Because this things are getting crazy by the moment, by the minute. And if we are prepared, we can survive a little longer. I'm not saying we're going to totally survive, but we're looking out for the best, but you always prepare for the worst. And it's crazy. It's the war, it's some of the requirements and things that are happening with the evangelical people whom are um I even wrote to Jai that this is one of these handmaid's tales. I may not be saying the show properly, but
Mhm.
listen, this is
Hangman. Is it Hangman?
no,
Hangman.
this is something that this young lady um was posted by Michelle on our group. Well, listen to this. Childlessness. Can the United States government actually punish you for choosing not to have children? And if they can, how are they going to do it? Let me break it down. The term willful childlessness comes from a book written in the 90s called Unwomanly Conduct: The Challenges of Intentional Childlessness. In the book, the author interviews like 40 women who chose not to have children and whose lives turned out absolutely horrible as a result of not having children, or at least that's the parallel that the author drives. Also in the 90s, we saw women have the most control over their careers, their finances, and their choice to have children, which is why in the 90s, the Southern Baptist Association started attacking people who were willfully childless. And this week, the Southern Baptists voted to prioritize influencing right-wing Congress members into writing laws that would make it very difficult for you to choose to not have children. They want to control your sex and your choice. That's what all of this is about. Banning gay marriage, banning porn. It's all about controlling sex, which, as I have said before, is one of the first signs that a cult is about to implode or fail. But here, the Southern Baptists reiterate that women who do not have children are making that choice because they are better educated and have more opportunities in the workplace. Now, legally, they can't yet lock women in rooms and force them to have children, although that woman in Georgia is still on life support because she's pregnant, even though the fetus is not viable, so we're not that far off. So what they'll do is break the women's rights that we've gained over the last 60 years to make it more difficult to live your life as an independent woman, starting by attacking protections against sex discrimination or other forms of discrimination, attack reproductive rights and access to healthcare, attack education, workplace justice, double down on tax cuts for the rich at the expense of working families, attack the LGBTQIA community, attack income security, housing, and nutrition assistance programs, all things that help women escape domestic violence, and attack immigrant families. Because if a woman can go out and have a career and use her salary to pay an immigrant woman to care for her children or aging parents, well, then she doesn't have to do it herself. And that freedom to be able to hire someone to do the caregiving tasks in a family is part of what keeps women in the workforce, and that's what they're going to attack. In attacking things like Medicaid and SNAP, you are putting a woman in a situation where she doesn't feel that she could financially survive on her own and is more likely to stay with a man or in an abusive relationship. There are still places in the United States where you can't even get divorced if you're pregnant. And if you're not protected from spousal rape, then you could be raped into a pregnancy and then not allowed to leave your marriage. There are also states who are working on fathers' rights to the unborn. That's just some of the ways that the Christian right plans to use legislation to stop people from being willfully childless. It's terrible, but if we can name it and we can follow their path, we can stop them. Willful childlessness. Imagine that. Will
Oh.
you if you don't want to have a child, they're
They
trying.
Yes,
can send somebody to rape you and let you have one. That's
this is
crazy.
Handmaid's Tale.
It's
Yep.
like
Yeah.
the handmaid's tale. Let me
Yep.
tell you something. I've
Mm-hmm.
always says a lot of these movies, if it not go so, it go near so.
Yeah.
Mhm.
You know, because
Yep.
how these minds. But before I said, Everdeen says it's better to be prepared than not to be. Remember from World War II, it said that this revolution will be televised. They are pushing the narratives but making it look provoked. They sure it's
Yeah,
that's
they are.
what I believe. I
Mm-hmm.
believe that as well. So
Yes.
it's for us not to be distracted and for us to really, really look at what's going on, you know. um Even back to this situation, a lot of things are is distracting us that are not important.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Behind our backs they are passing all of these, they're silently passing all of these laws. And
Yes, it
yeah,
is.
go Michelle, go ahead.
Now I'm agreeing with you. I do have something
Oh
to
yeah,
say, but I was
yes,
disagreeing
go
with
ahead.
you.
No, go ahead.
All right. So regarding that video, right? So
Yes,
it's similar to the Handmaid's Tale because in the Handmaid's Tale, they stopped women. They said women can't work anymore. Women had to leave their jobs, and the men stayed. You
You
know,
can't read.
they couldn't work anymore. They told the women they couldn't work, and they had
Yeah.
to leave their
So I
job.
was sorry not to cut you off, and we couldn't read. We couldn't. It's a lot of things you. That's why I keep telling y'all to watch it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah,
So they had to stop working. And now if you look at this big stupid ugly bill, but big beautiful supposed to be big ugly bill, and in there it states, remember we talked about it, that if a child is 7, as long as they're 7 years old, 7 years old and up, they are no longer dependent. That means you cannot get SNAP, Medicare, or any, you can't get SNAP for them or any welfare benefits. So that's one.
Mm-hmm.
The only way you can get it is if you're married. So if you have a child that's 7 or older and you're married, you can continue to get those Medicare and those benefits. But I mean Medicaid. But if you're not married, your child is considered independent. So it's
Mm-hmm.
similar to the Handmaid's Tale there. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is the woman who was pregnant on life support. So they, as you know, they did take the baby from her. They took her off of life support, and now the
yeah,
baby's like a pound and some change.
yeah,
And the
Mm-hmm.
thing was, that woman was a medical professional, and she knew that she had issues. And she went from doctor to doctor. But as you know, Black women and Black people have high mortality rates. She kept going to the hospital, and they would not give her the proper care. And she knew something was wrong, and she had clots in her head, and they could have helped her, and they didn't, and she died. So she could have still
Mm-hmm.
been alive. So there's so much things happening to this woman. And even in her death, she still was being mistreated because she's forced to continue with the baby that might not be viable and might not even survive long in life. So it's
Now
so
she's a test subject.
yes.
Mm-hmm.
Jai, I'm not sure why your phone keep breaking up. Go ahead. Jai, were you saying something?
Oh no, I just said she just turned into a test subject.
Yeah,
She
yeah.
did.
I
Like
mean,
that's what they've been doing with
uh,
us for how many hundreds of years.
our
It's
rights are being taken left and right. Go ahead, Queen.
No, I was just gonna say that, it's something when you really think about it, you say, what is going on? Why are they, it's like they're hurting children. What is the we understand that most people when they have children it's to make the lineage go on, continue. But these are government officials and they are trying to push you to what is this about? Why are they hurting these kids? Why are they so bent on having children, people having two, three, four children? You know what I mean? It don't seem to me like it's a heredity thing or a lineage thing. It seemed like they're planning for wars and they're trying to gather kids and maybe raise them the way they want for war. The end of the earth is gonna come, and man is who is gonna destroy themselves. And when you look at all of these things happening, we're not too far from it, really.
No, we're not. It's
Really, we're not.
crazy. It's crazy. But it's crazy. We're
Yeah.
all I'm saying is I encourage our panel, I encourage our listeners, um don't be distracted. you
Mhm.
know um don't be distracted, pay attention. I know a lot of us are tired of hearing the news, watching the news, and it's nothing but sad things on the news. But even 15 minutes, 10 minutes, just take a glimpse of what's going on. If you're always on social media, just take a glimpse of what's going on.
Yes.
And I once again, and because the information is there, it's not like back in the days when we didn't have this information. This information is at your fingertip when we're sitting there watching some of these videos that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. Revert and some of these TikTok, all they're doing is cussing. Some of these stuff, all it's not good. Let's take a minute and revert back to what is going on in the
Yes. And
real world. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
my mom said pick sense out of
educate.
nonsense. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
So
And
just okay.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead,
I
Michelle.
just wanted to say, as Queenie was discussing, what's happening to all these children, why they want all these children, and we're talking
Mhm.
about also migrant children, right, where they're taking the parents and leaving the children here.
Yeah,
So when
like
they do
they
that,
want to harvest them. Yes.
yes.
Is
So
it for
when they,
organs? Organs? What is it?
Wait,
What is
wait,
it?
one minute, Queenie. Let 1 minute, Queen. Let Michelle finish
I'm
this.
sorry,
so
Michelle.
it's okay. So in keeping them here, they also become wards of the state, right? If they don't have family or someone
Mhm.
to take it. So now the state is in charge of these children. And
Yeah.
I wanted to tell you, some years ago I read an article, and it still exists, where children who are 12 years old can work on a farm. They can legally work on a farm. Like, children have to be 14 and 15, right? To get their
Yeah.
working papers to start working. If you're
Yeah.
working on a farm, you can start as early as 12 years old with parental permission. So if
Mm.
you're a ward
But
of the
Michelle,
state,
but listen to this. Listen to
But
this.
1 moment, let her finish her statement, and then you go, Queen. Go ahead, Michelle. Finish saying what you
yeah.
said.
So they become wards of the state. And I was reading an article where these children were working on tobacco farms. And, and what they wore to cover themselves was like plastic garbage bags and things like that. And it wasn't really protected. It was very itchy for them to harvest the tobacco. So it was very dangerous and uncomfortable place for these children. And they had to work. And at that time, when their parents were there, their parents would allow them because these are immigrant families, and they not making as much money, so everybody working, it helps. But now if their parents are not here, you know that's another plausible option to think about why they're keeping the children, even though they said the children could go with the parents, but they're not, they're holding on to them. So this is just something to think about as well. That's
Yeah.
all.
Go ahead, Queen.
What I was gonna say is, I don't think working on the farm is what is being done. Listen, they chased the other day. We saw them chasing these immigrants across the field, right, where they were planting and doing farming, right? Okay, so if that aspect of it was important in terms of finding people to do the work there, then that would have been, I could say, yeah, okay. But I think it's more than that. These children, remember now, half of these children are missing. There is no data on some of these children. Okay? There are no data. Okay? We don't know what happened to some of these kids that was taken into custody. Okay? Not just that, but there are so many children missing. We've been talking about this on this program for the past couple of years about these kids that are missing, not just here in America, but all over the Caribbean. These kids are coming up missing. What's happening? I'm saying, I think there is something bigger than we think or we know, and I'm wondering if it's still having to do with harvesting the organs,
Okay.
and
So
why
Wait,
they want so many children. Because remember, when you're young, your organs is much more vibrant than when you're older. So
So
all
my
of these things come to my mind, when I think about this.
Okay, Don says, and then Michelle, you go. Don says,
okay.
and Noni, you've been quite quiet. Don says, white women are not having enough children. Evadine says, without unity, we're doomed. It always takes a real tragedy for us to come together, and that's sad.
But
Um,
it's true.
Myra says, unfortunately, that young lady gave birth and she was put to rest.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah,
ahead. I
that was
think
just sad. That's all I'm saying is that was just really sad and unfortunate for that
Yes.
mother,
Mm,
you know? That
Yes.
broke
yeah,
my heart, really. It really did.
yeah, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, and
Yes.
they had the tape circulating of the little boy saying his last goodbyes to his mom. It was very, very touching, very touching.
She didn't
Mm.
have to go, and that's the problem. She didn't have to go if she had gotten the proper care. And you
Care.
wonder if they, you sometimes you wonder if they did it on purpose. They want to say because they always start with us to
Yeah.
try on us,
Yeah,
experiment on us. Oh, you know what? Maybe we
the
can.
mortality rate for black women is very
And
Yes,
low.
remember,
Mm.
we don't I'm hoping that she didn't have on her well, I don't think that had anything to do with it really, the organs, being an organ donor. But as we said, the it's the law that is governing women and women bodies at
yes,
Mm-hmm.
time, and that over precedes the family members decisions as well. It's what the
yes,
law says, and that's all that matters.
yes,
It has nothing to do with your wishes, it has nothing to do with your family wishes anymore, and that's a sad.
And these rich people paying for these organs.
And
Okay.
these rich people are dictating what they want to
they
happen
are.
to you and your body, and none of them is around after the fact to assist you nor assist your
Yes,
family. And I'm not
exactly.
advocating that the baby should not have been given a chance to live, for life. I'm not advocating that should not have happened, but the way it was done, and the
Yes,
statistic behind this child, what they were saying in regards to, you
the
know,
health.
the health of it. Um,
Yeah,
Mm.
I'm in this field of working with the IDD population, and you know, some of the time it is so sad. It is so
yes,
sad. Not that they shouldn't have life once again, because so many of them, I have some great ones, that is so full of love. But I think that once again should have been that mom or the family's decision.
yeah. Or if the woman, or if she was 6 months already or
Yeah,
7 months, so the
yeah,
baby was already fully developed to that
develop.
point. Then you take the child, at that time. But you
Yeah,
don't wait and let it get that way for how many months sitting there. That's a problem.
yes,
And I wanted to piggyback on what Queenie was saying. So Queenie, another things that could be happening as well as we were
Uh-huh.
talking about organ trafficking is one. Another
Mm-hmm.
one is sex trafficking, a big
Yeah.
one. Another
Big
one
one.
also could be domestic workers because
Yeah.
remember when 47 was first president and when he separated the parents from the children, there were about
Mm-hmm.
5,000 children that were taken away and were unaccounted for, and they could not figure out where 5,000 children that were
They have
separated.
no records. Yes,
Yeah,
no
they had,
records. Who's
and,
keeping
and you want to know
records? Yeah.
and you want to know what happened, because when people went for that, they would only give you the child that was genetic match to the person that was getting them. So here's the problem. Some people were sending their child with their friend. They said, "Oh, you're going to America? You know what? Here, take my child with you. Give them a chance." So if your genetic match doesn't match your friend's child, they're not giving you that child. So there were 5,000 children. So those are missing. Now we have more human sex trafficking, as you said, organs. Another option, it could be domestic workers. Because
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna tell you one thing. One time, a cousin of mine came up here, to visit, and she was here. She was here legally, right? And there was a family that had met her previously in Jamaica, and they were in Georgia actually, living in the rural area. And
Mhm.
she came up here, and she let them know she was here, and they reached out to her, and they wanted to possibly see if she could do domestic work for them. And they flew her to Georgia, and she went there. And then she said they live in one Bakayawa place. You never know, with so many trees, whatever. And when she went there, they would wanted her to stay in the house, and she couldn't really go anywhere because she didn't have a car. So unless they took her, she would have to stay in the house all the time. So
Mhm.
imagine you taking these children that can stay in these houses and just work there,
Mhm.
and no one even really know that they're there or even pay attention. So
Yeah, but look at those kids that was in that yard, in the backyard, and nobody knew they were back there
yes,
locked up in that shed.
Right.
I
I
mean,
thought
you know,
about
yes,
that
they
too. The
so
abuse that can
yeah.
take place as well.
yes, exactly.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
So
And
it's
Dubai is a place that is really hurting these kids for these rich people, and these
mhm.
Wow.
men that like these little boys and young girls. Because you have some of these men, they only want them young, 12
Yeah,
and down.
pubescent,
You know
11.
what I mean? And you
Yeah,
say, my God.
yeah,
Sick.
It's
very
sad
sick.
because they do this in the name of like whatever higher power they believe in too. So
Hmm.
if you're a Christian, it's Christianity. This is the Lord's work, and it's, do you not realize how sick some of y'all are? I don't know.
It's
There's a lot.
sad.
There's a
A
lot. There's a
lot.
lot with
It's a
that.
lot. It's a
And then
whole lot.
and then I'm on the phone a lot with different. I'm in the medical field, and I be on the phone with a lot of health insurance members, and they were telling me some parts of Texas, and the lady I was talking to, she was Latino, and she sounded so sad. She said, "You will not believe what's happening in some parts of Texas. The deportation. They're going to the Home Depots and Walmarts and the different places where they work, and they are
Yeah.
deporting a lot of them. They're having curfews like at 10 o'clock. People are afraid to go to work, to the store, to
Hmm.
get food, just afraid they'll be deported. And it was
Yeah.
just so sad listening to her story
Mm.
in the
My
Latino
son said they
community.
were at his job day before yesterday. They
Hmm.
took a couple of people from his job, he said.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they're
He
they're
worked
they're
with he
rootless.
worked
They're
with
getting
Amazon, and he said they took a couple of
Yep.
them. They came in there a couple of days ago, like 2, 3 days ago, and took a couple of people. He said,
and you do have some organizations who are standing up now and telling them that do not come into their establishments,
Good.
Yes,
and it's for those for those establishments to make that known to the
yeah,
eye they are not opening their door.
yeah.
I'm gonna give you a minute, Michelle. After I'm gonna read these comments. No. I'm gonna read these comments, then I'll come to you. But I want to say big shouts go out to you, Jackie. Jackie just called Jackie Pommel, with
Hi, Jackie.
The Jamaica Atlanta Association just called and
"Yeah,
said, yeah, she has gotten a call as well, but she's saying that it's the same gentleman going from group to group to group, and she said he's been contacting her for years, and it's so it looked like it's the same individual that is contacting everyone, and what they're doing is when they see a group such as the Powerhouse radio WhatsApp group. They're calling folks asking, "Do you know the Powerhouse Radio?" So yeah, that's what's going on. But in the comments, Myra says, "It's not black kids that they want." And it's not Myra. Okay, let's talk about that in a minute.
yes,
Everdeen says, just like the children in Hawaii during the fire in the school, they found tunnels, but remember, they also controlled the media and set the narrative. Um,
ah,
Juliet says people are not stupid on many platforms. I read or hear many celebrities and regular people saying that the government is trying to distract us from what is really going on behind the scenes. He also says we need to pay more attention to what is really going on everything is getting worse. And I agree, everything is getting worse, and we most definitely need to pay attention. Um, Michelle, you go ahead. Then Jai, you go ahead. Queen, no need the juice. Go ahead, Michelle.
Okay.
We're gonna
I
stay a little extra. Since we started like 45 minutes late, we're
okay.
going to just stay maybe about 10 minutes over our time, and that way. So we want to thank you, Choose Radio, for broadcasting our program each and every Thursday. Thank you. I know you all cut off at 10 o'clock. So we thank you for joining us. Victorious, they'll be vibesing with us until Victorious 89.1 FM will be vibesing with us until we sign off. Okay. And so go ahead, Michelle.
Okay, so I wanted to say that regarding the organizations that do not allow ICE to come in, Dodger Stadium did not allow them to come in when they were having their game. They said we're going to have our game, it's going to go as planned, and you're not coming in. So they did not allow them to come in. So that was good. And another
Mhm.
problem is a lot of these people that they're taking, they have evacuated their stay. So or told them if they had permanent stay here based on a visa, they are eliminating that visa. So they could have been here. It's not just illegal; it's people who are legal and was able to work, and they're trying. It's the government 47 and his team wants to take it away. And
Mhm.
the last part I want to say, and this, of course, to touch on now, but to talk about at another time. Um, when she talked about they didn't want black people, it made me think of, you notice that what's happening now with Tyler Perry. We're not going to talk about, just touching on it. Tyler Perry, R. Kelly before, and now P. Diddy. These people are billionaires or millionaires, and they have a lot of money. And even though they did something wrong and it's proven, but a lot of white billionaires do things wrong. And it seems like they're just trying to get out at all our people who are prominent in our community, like Tyler Perry and stuff like that. So I'm just saying, putting that out there. Not saying they didn't do anything wrong. They did. I'm not sure about Tyler Perry, but you heard that they're trying to kill R. Kelly in prison because they won his masters. So I'm
Yeah,
just that's something to talk about next time. I'm just touching on that, and that's it.
yeah, and it seems as if that's so. Bill Cosby was trying to buy certain um media outlets, and P Diddy was starting. Although once you, as you says, Michelle, there's a lot of things that they have done that's not nice. That is horrendous. You know, but they were saying he was trying to start another party to go up against the Republican and Democrats. There's all type of different stories that you're hearing, but yeah, it's the elite, the so-called elite black individuals, because now they're dragging even Oprah into a lot of the hoopla in regards to Diddy situation. So yeah, it's sad. But I hope they utilize their money well in defending themselves. And
Exactly.
yeah, yeah. So go ahead, Jai.
I guess I'll save Michelle's topic for next week. But I was just piggybacking off of what you were saying earlier as far as being prepared. Um, it's really just, and if you have a moment to watch the show, granted it's action packed, drama filled, suspenseful. It'll give you kind of everything that you're looking for, but just kind of read in between the lines. Because there was a whole scene that happened in the show that happened to the young lady in Atlanta that was used as an incubator. um so it's kind of, I would just say be prepared, have a way out if that's the way that we have to go, and be realistic about what that looks like, and pay attention. Like everybody else is saying, there's a lot happening at one time, and it's easy to kind of narrow in. And it kind of feels like it's like a video game for them, but this is our lives. And a lot of people have left, and I just think that things are going to come crashing sooner than expected, because I didn't expect this soon, but it's looking like we're going to have an action packed, suspenseful movie to live in before the year is out. So just be prepared, be realistic, and have a plan, even if it looks like leaving, you know? And that's it.
Okay, Queen. Oh, Queen, you on mute. Okay, go ahead, Queen.
Like I said, power is the key. These, if you attain too much power as a black man, they're gonna knock you down. That's the bottom line. Okay, and whether you're male or female, okay, they're gonna knock you down. They're not gonna let you go too far. You remember, they have to feed us a little bit of biscuit so that it can seem like they're being fair, across the board. So they'll give you a little bit, and then they take away a little bit, and then they feed you a little bit more, then they take away a little bit. It's all about power. They have that power. Certain people, like I said before, and I've been saying it weeks and weeks, the pharmaceutical company, the banking industry, the large corporations, they're the ones that runs the world, not just the country, but the world. And what they decide to do is what they do. And we do not have power to change the narrative because it was already set up years ago from slavery time. It was set up and it's just been manifested, and they're just doing what they had planned for years to do. And all we have to do is just be mindful. My mom said, pick sense out of nonsense. That's what my mom used to tell us. Pick sense, you're not stupid. Pick sense out of nonsense. Okay? Don't follow everything you hear. Look for yourself. Research it for yourself. And that's what we need to do as people of color. We need to start really investigating things for ourselves and not just depending on what the media tells us or what someone else, another group tells us, because it's all just almost like some of the chapters in the Bible, the scriptures in the Bible. It's people's word. And remember, these words can be changed. You can add to them or you can take off from them. And that's what's going on in this world. And I'm just hoping and praying that they don't destroy the world by doing these things. We're already feeling it with all these diseases, all of these things that's going on, all this confusion, all of that we know. So just be mindful. That's all I got to say to you guys. I'm looking, I'm watching. Do the same.
All right. No need the juice. And then I'm going to read some comments that are here.
Okay, I want to talk on the topic of preparation, which you was talking about earlier.
Yes.
Preparation is never lost time at all, and you have been speaking about this a lot. And I know for my family, we've been incorporating some things, non-perishables, and different things like that. And it just took me back thinking about Juneteenth of, how our ancestors prepared for things. They had fallout shelters and, preserved items and different things. And so I am finding that we got to go back to this in order to be prepared and to save ourselves, because we shouldn't look for anyone, to save us and to catapult off of these celebrations that we're doing, Juneteenth, Malcolm X Day, all these things, we're remembering them. Why? Those are lessons. That's history. So we're so rich of it, and we shouldn't forget that, and definitely passing it on to the next generation so they'll be even more powerful to use the tools that we have been given. So that's what I wanted to speak on. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yes. You're most welcome. I'm going to read these comments and then I'm going to give my last
Before you
comment.
read it, lady, they
But
just called that individual is a Jamaican.
yeah, okay. Yeah, we know
Yeah.
that. That's what
Mhm.
what's her name said, it was a Jamaican
Yeah.
person that is doing it. I read Everdeen first and Juliet. Juliet says we need to pay. Okay, I read that one. Everdeen says anytime when something big about to go down, they throw dirt on someone of color to be scapegoat. Take MJ for instance, which is Michael Jackson for instances.
Mhm.
All those people who accused him of touching them came out and said that they made the stories and nothing came of it. Juliet says, what happened to that young lady that was an avid Trump loyalist? I'm thinking that you're talking about Candace Owens, Juliet.
Did we lose her?
Yeah,
Oh,
Yeah, I'm
she's
wondering.
touched
okay.
some reason I touched the wrong thing.
Okay.
She's not
Mm.
too happy with him right now, Juliet. Donna Moody says, I'm glad how caught them in their lies and they're still lying. Okay. I'm not sure whom that you're speaking of caught them in the lies. But Juliet says you're doing a great job. Y'all doing a great job. Thank you very much. Juliet has given us a compliment, ladies.
Thank you, Juliet.
Thank
Says
Thank you,
you so
Gillette.
much, Juliet.
Appreciate it.
Donna says it's a nuclear war. All those sicknesses are radiation sicknesses for their team to profit from. Okay. Juliet
Pharmaceutical company.
Juliet says it's best to start preparing now before the shelves are empty. Evadine says they're building all the underground bunkers for something. Andrea, good night, aunties. Good night, Andrea. Blessing. Donna
Good
says,
night,
I'm
Andrea.
glad how I caught them in their lies. Donna says she caught them in their lies. Okay, Donna. I get you. I get you where you coming from. But yeah, I'm just I just want to piggyback off of what everyone has said in regards to even being prepared, and even what Everdeen has said in regards to the bunkers. I think I spoke with, I think it was you, Queen, earlier this week, and I mentioned the same thing with the bunkers,
Yeah.
underground bunkers. I'm not sure. Was it me and you, Queen, talking?
We talked about it, but I don't remember if it was, yeah, but we talked
Spoke
about
with
the
someone
bunker.
yesterday is in regards to the same bunker situation on the on us being prepared and
Yeah.
that the elite folks are buying bunkers and
Hmm.
they're those underground bunkers and a lot of them is moving. I'm not sure if it's Jai I was even talking to, but a lot of them is moving even out of the country. We have a lot of people that are migrating to other islands,
Okay.
or
Hmm.
other countries all around as well.
Wait, can
As
I ask you about that? You said bunkers. Now, is this something that you read, like an article you read, or people talking about it, about the
Oh,
underground
it's
bunkers?
Both.
it's a fact.
Both.
It is a
Yeah,
fact
both.
of it. It was they used to have something, a show called Conspiracy Theory, and Jesse
Okay.
Ventura was on top of it. They removed it off of television because it was revealing too much. And he
Okay.
showed those bunkers, and there's articles on underground bunkers, underground cities, and stuff like
Okay.
that. If there was a bombing or there was a nuclear, whatever.
One
You
just for the president.
have
Congress. They have
persons
one for Congress, one for the
have
president, one thing.
you have persons whom are purchasing all of these things as well. And as
Okay.
Queen was stating, you do have these things for the president. That's where they had kind of sort of evacuated. I think it was Donald Trump in some secluded area when it was the insurrection,
Okay.
a couple of years back. So
Yeah.
they have those things that are going on, and
And
Yeah.
lady wanna
I've
build
even
one.
I've even thought
Yeah.
of
I would. Yeah,
I've
I
even
would think it's
thought
a good idea
about
to do one.
I've even thought and I've looked in, not even just thought, but
Yeah, lady for
acted
years. She said she
I've
gonna build one.
look into purchasing land closer to the south, closer to some water, where I can build some underground bunker for myself and my family.
Yeah,
So
I
um,
thought about that too. I think
yeah,
that is
so
good.
it is something that is in hope to manifest soon.
Okay.
But to the listeners, I'm going to read some of the comments that are here. But to the listeners, For your emergency supplies, you need 1 gallon per person per day. Okay, so for 3 days supply, and they're saying 1 gallon per day per person. So if it's 4 persons in your house, you need 4 gallons per day. All right. So just like a gallon of milk, you need a gallon. If you love to do more water stuff for yourself, then give yourself 2 gallons. But that's just for you to survive. Food, non-perishable, easy to prepare items, 3 days supply for evacuation. And that is if there's something and you feel like, hey, I may be rescued. At least you have 3 days supply. But I encourage persons to have at least the week. If you can get a month
Yeah.
worth of supply, wonderful. They have the things called the ROE foods. Those are the military foods that is easy to prepare for yourselves and your family, and it comes in little small containers. I have them. I've opened one and tried the meal. They taste okay.
Yes.
um it's not like your meal, but you can still, if you don't want to go that route because it may be a little bit costly, but those items last 25 to 30 years shelf life if you keep it in the container that it comes in and keep it in a cool place. I've had them for my place of business and I have them personally. But I also rotate my canned goods. Once a year, twice a year, I go into my emergency supplies and I restock. I look at the date, I keep a log and I check the log and I restock and rotate my stock. Take them out before it expires, use them and restock it. Okay, so
Listen,
that's
I'm sorry, I
something.
don't mean to cut you, Miss Lady D, but you need a separate YouTube channel to really go into detail and show videos and the log and how you do this. Because
Uh, yeah,
you
there's
put
you
a
all also
video.
you all also need flashlights. It's best that you all can get the ones that hand crank, because once you run out of batteries, and they also have water flashlight that works with water. I have them myself and they are very good. Even when there's power outages, I just grab that, put a little touch it with some water and it lights up. So there are ways for you to survive and don't have to worry about totally just to have batteries. Is the cranked radio, you need to have that. Also still have extra battery, your first aid kit. If you're on medication, try to have at least 7 days supply of medication for those who have blood pressure, diabetes, whatever your meds is. Put a 7 day supply in a bag and put it away. Have some multi-purpose tools, some little tools, and you could put them in one of those bins that has the wheels, so that, or wherever you plan to evacuate to, as if there's a tornado, hurricane, because we're not just talking about war and stuff like that. We're talking about everyday thing. If there's a hurricane, anything like that, you stay away from the window. So where would you evacuate? You go to the room where there's no window. So that's where you keep your emergency supply. If it's in your basement, that's where you keep your emergency supplies. Sanitation, women whom have their menstrual, things such as, make sure you put some paper products. They have a lot of things that you use in camping. Just go to the camping section in any of these stores and buy the camping products there. The little stoves, the containers, the lanterns, all of those things. Copy your personal documents. Put them in your deed and all, put those in a Ziploc bag, double the Ziploc bags, and put them in there as well. All of those things is important. Your contacts, for us whom not remembering people's numbers and stuff anymore, because one time I used to remember everyone's number. Get a sheet of paper and start writing them down, because maybe your phone won't work and maybe you can't find these. Put all of these in your emergency supplies. Okay. There's lots of things. You all can go all on the websites and find out what you all need for medical supply. Babies, put these baby bottles, put an extra formula. Once again, rotate these things, diapers, and have little activities for the children. It's sad that we have to talk about this, but it's just the plain old truth and things we have to talk about. Extra house keys, extra car keys, can openers, spoon, forks. All of those things are things that you need in your emergency supply. Just go online and read it. For those who know about barrel, get a barrel, fill it with water, and get those water purifier tablets that instead of worrying if you're going to worry about the bottled waters all the time, just do that. Get a barrel, make sure that you wash it, clean it very good, air it out, and then let it fill up with water, and then cover it, seal it, and have those tablets that you can drop in to clear. They even have straws that you can drink out of. I have a couple of those that purifies the water. Just be prepared. Duct tapes, all these things is essential for you all. Okay, toilet paper, all of these things is necessary for you to put inside of your emergency supply. Blankets, a change of clothes, some clothes in there. It's trust and believe. You would not believe all of, just think of your everyday life. Scissors. Think of your everyday life of what you may use for a week, and think about incorporating these things inside your emergency supply kits. Okay, start canning if you can can. If you know anything about canning, just do what you need to do so that you can survive when and if the time ever comes. Alrighty. I'm just going to read these last few comments and then we're going to get on out of the air chair. Juliet says it's best to start preparing now before the shelves are empty, which I think I said that. Yeah, Donna says, Everdeen says, love you all, blessings. Then Everdeen says, Kanye, what's up, Buzz? Then Everdeen also said they talk about it all the time. Rick Ross, Bill Gates, and many other celebrities are building them and even show some of them. So that's to your question, Michelle, in regards to the bunkers. All right, the underground bunkers. So it's not a myth, it's an
Thank
actual
you.
thing that's going on. Donna says it's nuclear weapon testing underground. It comes from the bunkers. Okay, that's possible too. Just like Ground Zero at the Pentagon, there's a bunker beneath that gazebo. Exactly. Tatat says, good evening, family and everyone. So we just want to thank you all once again for joining us for Reasoning Thursdays. Each and every Thursdays we're on with nothing but information, and information that has been researched, and also just our thoughts on things. All right. And so spread the word, tell a friend and a friend and a family member to be sure to join us each and every Thursdays from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. right here on DA Powerhouse Radio.com. You could get us on tuning apps. You could get us on your Facebooks and your YouTubes. And that's for our talk program. Be sure to join us for the Lady D show each and every Saturday. Be with me from 12 p.m. up until the 4 o'clock hour with the best in music. I have your headline news, your entertainment news, your joke of the day. What do you know about it? I ask you, what do you know about lots of things that happens in America and Jamaica, in life, in products, etc. And the best in music. Be sure to join us Sunday nights for All About Love, Nothing But Love. If you got a loved one, a significant other, and you want to have a fantabulous evening, join us each and every Sundays. And if you don't have a significant other, why don't you just love upon yourself? It's nothing better than loving yourself. So join us for All About Love, Nothing But Love each and every Sunday nights from 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. with myself, Lady D, Blossom, and Cool G. We have your love numbers, your love colors, your angel numbers, your love question of the night, and your love poems, and the best in love music. Let's Gripe will be joining us. And so be sure to listen to Let's Gripe on Wednesday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. with Tonya, McKenna, and Marcus. Each and every Sunday, you got to gripe. Check them out. And as you're doing right now, each and every Thursday, Reasoning Thursdays, with yours truly, Lady D, Jai, Queen, Michelle, Noni, the Juice, and the Respecter. We thank you, we respect you, we love you. And if there's a topic that you would like us to reason on, send it to DA Powerhouse Radio at gmail.com. That's DA Powerhouse Radio at gmail.com. If anyone is hitting you all up or texting you or calling you, asking you, telling you that the Powerhouse Radio needs you or has an urgent, that is false. Okay. Just hit me up at dapowerhouseradio at gmail.com and just ask us, is this you? We'll tell you, no, it's not. All righty. If you would like to, sponsor a program, then be sure to hit us up at dapowerhouseradio at gmail.com. All right. Love you all. Blessings. Listen to the station 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All righty. With the best in music. All righty. The ladies, you all want to say Arrivederci?
Good night.
Good
Good
night,
night, all.
everyone. Thank
Thank
you
you
for
for
tuning
joining us.
in. Yeah,
Love
Good
see you
you
night.
next
guys.
week.
See you
Yeah,
next week.
see you next
Arrivederci.
week. Same time, same place.
Same time, same place.
Remember, share, share. Press that like button. Thank you all.
Yes. And as I'm going to drop one here, we can't do music live on when we're on Facebook and YouTube because they'll strike us. So if you want to listen to some good music, just keep log it on over to dapowerhouseradio.com. Blessings upon blessings. Good night, smooches.
Good night,
Happy
smooches.
Juneteenth.
Happy
Happy
Juneteenth, everybody.
Happy
Juneteenth.
Juneteenth.
I enjoyed everybody. Good night.
All right.
Enjoy y'all too, ladies.
Thank
The
Yes.
you.
respect the head walk. Yeah,
Yeah, big up,
walk.
brother
Very
D.
well tonight, right?
Yeah, big up,
We
big
missed
up
a
to
good one.
Brother
I'm sure you would
D.
have had a lot to say tonight.
Yeah, he would have
Yes.
had a lot to say.
He would.
Big up to
Yeah, he
Ebony,
would.
Donna, Tot, Juliet, Don
Mhm.
Minot, Donna, um, Myra, all who Jean, all whom wrote in and participated with us. We want to thank you because without you all, there is definitely no us. So, ciao, ciao.
Peace out.
All right, sing it again for me. All right.
You're in tune to the Powerhouse Radio, linking the world to the Caribbean.
All